Tina's Angels. Troy, you can come on up. Troy will introduce himself, but Troy is the head of Tina's Angels. He's going to talk to you a little bit about how he does church. In my opinion, this is very much church, and he's going to share with you a little bit, and pretty cool story. So here's Troy. You're welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, First United Methodist Church of Springboro, for having me. My name's Troy Kehr. I am the founder and president of Tina's Angels. I reside in Liberty Township, just down the street, with my amazing wife, Erin, of nearly 20 years, and my twins, Gracie and Grady, who just turned 16, and my youngest, Jackson, who is 12. I want to thank Pastor Joe and Kim Crozen for having me and the entire congregation. The church looks amazing in pink. But the unfortunate side of that is pink means breast cancer, which is why I'm here, to talk about my sister Tina, who we started Tina's Angels in memory of, to work with women who have breast cancer. If you wouldn't mind extending a warm welcome to my mom and dad, Les and Nancy Kehr, who are here. Dad just turned 85 on the 13th and can still outwork me any day of the week and twice on Sunday. And we think Mom is in her 50s. We're not real sure, but she certainly acts like it. If you want to look up the definition of hospitality in the dictionary, there's a picture of my mom. I was going to start with a joke. I was going to start with, hey, there's a Presbyterian, Methodist, Catholic, Lutheran, and Baptist. But then I realized I just described Harold from your choir. So he stole my joke. I come from a very tight-knit family. I'm the youngest of three. Todd is my older brother. Tina was my sister, and we all live here in Southwest Ohio. My grandparents are from Southwest Ohio, so we've been here a long time, and we love Butler/Warren County. Tina and Mike, her husband, moved to Springboro when they got married in 1990. Her three boys and father just reside up the road on Red Lion 5 Point Road. So Springboro is near and dear to us. And Tina has been laid to rest at a beautiful cemetery not far from here. On June 30th, 2009, it's amazing how your mind works. I can remember exactly where I was at. I was in Louisville, Kentucky for work, walking to my truck to go to a dinner with customers, and my sister Tina called and said she had breast cancer. However, she didn't tell us that it was stage 4, triple negative, metastatic, basically terminal cancer. Clay was 12, her oldest. Carter was 7, and her youngest, Carson, was 5 at the time. We got together, I think, the following week at my brother's house in Somerville, and Tina set the tone and the stage for her journey. The person that was dying, that was getting ready to go through a lot, set the stage with her wittiness, her sense of humor, her sarcasm, and most importantly, her faith in Jesus. She talked about getting new tatas after her surgery. She talked about cruising around, going out and buying a convertible because she would have to get a wig, which she ultimately named Jolene. And she looked beautiful in her wig when her hair started falling out and her friends gathered and shaved her head with her. So my sister-in-law, Marie, who's a wonderful lady, is a nurse practitioner, so she kind of handled that side of it. And then my wife was a recreational therapist. She got a cardboard box, wrapped it in pink, and put little notes in there of things we could do. We would pick things out. Some of the things we did, we went horseback riding, movie night, handgun shooting, things like that. Time did not allow for us to play paintball, so now that is one of our fundraisers to raise money for Tina's Angels in memory of Tina. And time did not allow for us to toilet paper someone's house. That's who Tina was. She wanted to have fun. But thankfully, 6 or 8 years ago, I spoke at a local high school that one of my good friends is principal. And after I spoke, I asked the vice principal to keep him away, and we toilet papered his office in memory of Tina. And I got a picture of it. I know Tina would be pleased. I take a great deal of pride when I toilet paper someone's house or office. So Tina met with her oncologist, who the entire Kehr Conrad family thinks the world of, Dr. Calvo. And they decided to fight. How could you not when you mentioned the ages 12, 7, and 5? You fight. Tina fought. Immediately, she went through chemo, had 6 rounds. In January, she had a double mastectomy. The thing I think of a lot when I speak about Tina is she never complained, and I mean never. I drove up from Liberty Township, and before I even got on 129 to get onto 75, I complained about a car in front of me didn't pick which lane he wanted to be in. So to say Tina went through 42 years of life in the last 15 years and never complained is a pretty tough statement, and it's a realistic statement. She went through scoliosis surgery when she was in 9th grade and laid flat in bed for 2 weeks and never complained. So she was a special person. After her surgery, things didn't really heal well, didn't go well, but she remained very focused on her 3 boys, going to their sporting events, doing what she could. It's at this time that the family realized how serious it is. I'll preface by saying cancer is serious no matter what stage you have. But now we knew she was fighting for her life. And as she went through fevers, hospital stays, she took her toughness to another level, a level I wasn't aware of. You can ask my wife, when I was sick 3 or 4 weeks ago, I'm a baby. And to see Tina fighting for her life versus me having a little scratch or scratchy throat is humorous. Tina would laugh if she were here today. She went in the hospital May 28th for 13 days, and I was fortunate to spend time with her. I was fortunate. We didn't think she was going to make it home. And like I said, she took that toughness to another level, and it was amazing to see. So I thought, we need to do something. So I put a team together for a breast cancer walk that was coming up in September, and something to look forward to, and started raising money. In the time being, she went through 7 weeks of radiation. And then a year to the day, July 30th, 2010, she went in to get the results from her PET scan, and Dr. Calvo had said to her that her cancer had spread. Lungs, liver, bones. I think it spread to her brain as well, but if so, she chose not to share that with us. Dr. Calvo said, Tina, you have 2 to 4 months to live. What did she do? She went home, got Mike and the boys, and went to Gatlinburg for the weekend. She rallied. She said, you know what? We're going to spend time as a family, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to kick this thing in the rear. And she did. She came home rejuvenated, ready to fight. And I was honored to go with Tina to her next appointment with Dr. Calvo, and driving there, she said, I don't want to hear about how much time I have. I said, well, then just tell the doctor you don't want to hear that. And as soon as Dr. Calvo hadn't got through the door, and she said, Dr. Calvo, I don't want to hear about how much time I have to live. And he started laughing. It just loosened the mood. And you have to be loose when you're talking to life and death. Not always. Obviously, there was a lot of serious conversations. There was a ton of tears. There still are a ton of tears. But you also have to be loose and witty like Tina was. August 27th, Tina's husband, Mike, a co-worker, had a benefit for her at a local restaurant, and it was amazing. The band played Hang On Sloopy, and Tina got on stage and did OHIO, as Tina is a huge Ohio State fan. It was just a special day. She looked beautiful, even as sick and worn out and beaten up as she was. I compared Tina to a boxer who went 15 rounds, and she just kept fighting. She'd go to the corner between rounds, and she'd keep coming back and was battered and bruised, but she kept fighting. Saturday, September 25th came around, which was the walk for a local charity. Dr. Calvo said, Tina, you need to be in a wheelchair, so we took a wheelchair. Tina said no. She walked the 2K with over 30 family and friends. It was amazing. She could barely breathe. She was all smiles. One of the unfortunate things is when someone passes, you don't ever get any new pictures of them. So we took a lot of pictures that day. It's one of the most emotional mornings of my life. It was beautiful. Tuesday, October 12th, Tina and I drove up to Pittsburgh to get another opinion for her breast cancer, and nothing left to do. I called her on the phone. She's driving home. Stayed upbeat. October 19th, the following week, unbeknownst to Tina, it was the last day she would be in her home. She went to the hospital, and then on the 26th of October, she went to hospice. And the day she was told it would be time to go to hospice, timing is a beautiful thing. And I happened to be in the room along with Tina, and I have no idea why. I guess it was a God thing, as Pastor Joe and his wife Kim talk about, which I love. I'm sitting in there, and this is one of the only times. One time Tina and I had breakfast, and she was worried Carson wouldn't remember her. And other than that, she never talked about death with me, or I don't think anybody, probably her husband, which is obviously an intimate conversation those two shared. So before Dr. Calvo walked in, she talked about her funeral and how she wanted it, and I asked if I could speak, and she said yes. I can't believe she let me speak. She said yes, and talked about some of the music she wanted played. And Dr. Calvo walked in. That conversation, if it was 3 minutes, maybe. And Dr. Calvo walked in, and Dr. Calvo is a very nice-looking man, very well put together, just very professional. And he said to Tina, Tina, hospice is a two-way street. And she needed to hear that, although we all knew the likely outcome. And Tina had gotten to know Dr. Calvo's staff very well, and apparently sometime over the course of the time Tina was there was they had a get-together for the staff, Dr. Calvo's staff, and he salsa danced, and Tina heard about this. So Tina was on oxygen, could barely talk, could barely breathe, couldn't walk. And she said, Dr. Calvo, when I walk out of here, you're going to teach me to salsa dance. And Dr. Calvo reached his hand down, shook her hand, and said, you've got a deal. What a moment that was that I was able to observe. 5 years ago, Dr. Calvo was kind enough and generous enough to speak at one of our fundraising events, and he told that story. And it hit me. Here's this oncologist who deals with life and death every day, if not every hour of every day. And there's that boundary of getting close to your patients. And he went to that edge where he really thought the world of Tina, and he loved Tina as a person. And that, to me, I could stop talking right now. That was who Tina was. That's how she touched people's lives. She touched your oncologist's life, that he would remember that story. So we thought we got a lucky break. Tina's got into a research study. This is what we needed. So she buckled down and took this from toughness. I think it was the fourth time I saw her take it to another level. And this was the time that Tina went from becoming my sister to my friend and my hero. She had already been through 22 chemo treatments, 7 radiation treatments, a double mastectomy, and numerous hospital stays. But that next day, she went into hospice, and it wiped her out. It was on a Saturday. The following day, the preacher, Pastor Daniel Snyder out of Butler County, came. He married Tina and Mike in 1990. He came, prayed with Tina and Mom and Dad. I was not there. And recited the 23rd Psalm. It was a special moment. Pastor Schneider is a wonderful man. He's writing a book now. He's in his 90s. He also baptized Tina's first 2 boys. So just imagine that moment. That Monday, Tina took a turn for the worst. Up till then, we didn't allow visitors. We were buckled down to win this fight. We had one last chance with this research study. We opened the doors to hospice, and 50 people flooded in and out Monday night. Mom needed it. I needed it. Dad needed it. Todd needed it. We all needed that to start the mourning process, even though Tina was still with us. The compassion that Tina's friends and family showed, the compassion that hospice showed, hats off to hospice. Friday, November 5th, Tina went to be with the Lord about 6:30 in the morning, surrounded by family. That was the day she was supposed to start her research study. As I look back, the two things that really, a lot of things stick to me, but no child should have to grow up without a mom. And no parent should have to ever bury a child. As a Christian, I don't think Tina was afraid of dying. I think we all are to a certain extent, but I don't think she was. She was made to be with mom. I think she was sitting here to be a mom, and that's what she wanted to do, and that's why she fought and fought and fought. Instead of just taking those last 15 months and, going through life, she fought. And what's really neat, I think, about Tina, I'm going to preach for a little bit, preacher. Is that all right? Tina was a Christian who sinned, like all of us. Christianity isn't about being some boring dude or dudette who just sits at home and reads the Bible. Christianity, there's exciting people like Tina, witty people. None of us are perfect. Look at the disciples Jesus picked. Holy smokes. So I hope people realize that Christianity is about people like Tina. Holy cow, if you knew some of the sinful things I've done or thought or deeds and words I've done, sometimes I judge others by their actions and me by my intentions. Tina never judged. Truly, she didn't. She saw the good in me when I was in bad places and a bad brother, and she lifted me up. That next Tuesday, November 8th, over 700 people attended Tina's visitation. I had never been so honored to stand on my feet for 6 hours as I was that night. And I can't remember how many people said it, but it was echoed through the sanctuary. Tina never said a bad word about anyone. She didn't. That's pretty tough to do. I couldn't do it this morning, let alone for 42 years of her life. She had terminal cancer, young boys, everything to fear, but her faith was unwavering. None of us really know what happens in heaven, but I got to think Tina's a pretty good salsa dancer. As I reflect back on Tina's 15-month journey, the last 15 months of her life here on earth, breast cancer, I don't think I ever heard her use the word cancer. She'd say to the doctor, "Can you get it? Can you beat it? Can you get it?" I continue to mourn. It wasn't but a few months ago I wanted to pick up the phone and call her. It'll be 11 years, the 5th of next month. That's what I miss, is talking to her on the phone. I love the saying, or the "what would Jesus do?" And at Tina's Angels, we talk about a God thing. As I mentioned, we started it, I think I mentioned January 11th, 2013. Talk about a God thing. Our website would have been $5,000. Someone did it for free. The attorneys I met with wanted $5,000 to $6,000. Mr. Brian Furnish did it for a fraction of that. So Tina's Angels is a God thing. We're not perfect, and that's what's so fun about our board members. We have a lot of fun, but we take it very seriously. And we reference John 16:33, when Jesus said to his disciples, "I have told you these things so that you may have peace. In the world you may have trouble." Tina had trouble. We all have trouble. Every single person in this room has something going on right now in their life. But we find peace that Jesus saved the world by dying on the cross for our sins. So at Tina's Angels, we plan family-centered activities to provide support, encouragement, laughter, and lasting memories for those in the local community who are affected by breast cancer. I'm not smart enough to cure cancer. Sure wish I was, but I'm not. But we're going to do the things, and we have done the things for the last 8-9 years that we did with Tina. Fun things, family-centered activities. We've sent a lady to Bar Harbor, Maine. We've sent a lady to Wrightsville, North Carolina. We've sent someone to Savannah, Georgia. We've sent someone to Lake Norris, Kings Island. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depends how you want to look at it, we've sent 6 women on their last vacation. I remember meeting one woman, Miss Susan, after her chemo treatment with her 2 young boys and her husband. And 8 days from the day I met her, she was in Wrightsville, North Carolina. That's one of the cool things about Tina's Angels. We move quick. We like to help people where we can. I say that very humbly. And she wrote me as we're setting the trip up in those 8 short days and said, this will be my last vacation. And it was. It was just an honor to do that for her. So that's what Teenage Angels does. Our board members are gracious, kind. None of us take salaries. A majority of the money goes right back to the community because everyone here works really hard for their money. And when you give, when you tithe, when you give to this beautiful church or a different organization, you want to know where your money's going. So we love giving back to the community. It's been an honor to be here today, and I have unfortunately heard the news that Pastor Joe's wife, Kim, has breast cancer, and I would like to ask for them to come up, if you would, please. I did a little research on them on your website. I'm so glad you young kids, when I went to high school, we didn't have social media and phones, so mom and dad don't know some of the things I did. And thankfully, God forgave me. But I did some research and learned about Joe and Kim, their 5 kids, 2 grandkids, and Reds fan, Bengals fan. He goes into his man cave, it sounds like, and has team meetings with himself. We need to talk about that, Pastor, afterwards, maybe. He sounds like you might need a friend. Just kidding. You got plenty of friends. I can feel the love in this church. And you like date nights and cruises. So Tina's Angels has a little goodie bag for some things as you go through radiation, and a sweatshirt and snacks and crossword puzzles. But we decided to take it a little step further. Tina's Angels is honored to be able to send these 2 well-deserving people on a cruise as she battles breast cancer.